What is up, ladies and germs? Welcome back for another video. I am MTG Flux. If you guys like what we do here, please like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you all so much. Today we are doing a Winston draft. It's a 1v1 draft format, and I like doing Winston drafts with my buddy Lawson. We have been back-to-back and playing so much Winston. We keep score, and I think it's like 13 to 12 me right now on our all-time record against each other while playing Winston. So it gets intense, so every win counts. But today we did some Strixhaven, and so with that Strixhaven we did 2 packs of draft or play booster new secrets of Strixhaven, then 1 collector booster pack for some spice, and then we did 3 old Strixhaven. So kind of a get schooled theme going on here. But so this is what we're doing. And once again, if you guys like what we do here, don't forget to hit all the notifications and all the stuff. And I appreciate you all so much, and enjoy the rest of the video. All right, let's get in here. All right, so just a reminder how Winston goes is you shuffle all your packs together and you make one big deck, which you can see here on the left. And then you put 3 stacks of 1 card, and then if you get to look at the first stack or first card, and then if you don't want it, you put it back, put a card from the deck on top of it, and then you pick the next stack and you go down. And if you go through all of them without picking a card, you just draw off the top of the deck, and that card you have to take. So this is a format where there's a lot of known knowledge, especially being 1v1, so there is cutting people off, there's strategy within the drafting elements as far as understanding what they're in and what's good against what you're passing them most of the time. There is some hidden attributes to this format because like they get to take the top card, or you will always not know one of the cards, and so on and so forth. And but yeah, so we took a 5-mana removal spell from the new Strixhaven. I forget what it's called, but deal 6 damage to target creature, or 2 damage to all creatures an opponent controls, and 1 more modal ability. So I think we take this stack because we know we're kind of red, or we think we are red, so to speak. It's important to, and then there was also a Simic land in there. It is also important to eat your vegetables, make sure you're picking your lands, because more often than not, fixing is, you will be playing more than 2 colors a lot of the times, just to support playables, because if you're overlapping even a little bit with the person that you're playing against, then like you're cut off, and that cut off feels really bad. So this was a good example of what this is. This is a card that I actually wish I would have picked up, but I was hoping for something a little bit better, because I was thinking that I'm red here. Then I pull this Foolish Fate. This is a card that I don't want Lawson to have, and I just don't want him to have such premium removal against me. And I was like, well, at the very least, I can take this away from him, and hopefully, maybe there's a world I can play it. So that being said, I feel fine about where we're at. Have some strong removal. Removal can be hard to get in this kind of format, just because it's so highly fought over, and sometimes it's not a lot of packs. And we get another form of removal here as consideration. I think I put it back though. But yeah, we'll see what this really comes out to be. But oh, we take it, and I think that's fine. We know we're red, or we think we are red at this point, or this is kind of what. There's no real reason except for like okay removal spell, and a very mid creature that has a spell attached to it. That 3/2 creature that I did pick up Does have a spell on it, 6 mana, make 2/2 spirits, which spirits can, there is some Lorehold spirit stuff, so it's not the worst things in the world. Our deck was pretty sweet, I will say. I did enjoy this round. You know, we played a couple Winstons. This wasn't the only Winston that we played. But that video will also go up, of course. But yeah. Prismari, Pledge Mage, Magecraft, whenever you cast or copy a spell. But I like the Strict Proctor. Just basically ETBs. They have to pay an extra 2 to get the ETB. I think is pretty strong. There's strong cards like Bookworm and other cards that would be nice to shut down its extra value. Bookworm is like, catastrophic. I remember Strixhaven was the first set when I came back to play Magic, and I got way into it. So I played way back in the day, but it was more, things were a lot different then. But when I've come back twice now, and then this last time I've been here since Strixhaven, which is what, 4 or 5 years ago. So, so this, doing the double Strixhaven thing was more or less sentimental or nostalgic for me, just because it got me back in. And I didn't come back to Magic for the set. I came back to Magic for Magic. And but I remember how difficult it was to learn and lessons were. I'm like, what is going on? This is not the same game that I've been used to, but it opened a lot of doors for me as far as this is how far Magic's really gotten. And we took some blue cards. We're still trying to find our home, but that Strict Proctor is nice. A 2 mana 1/3 flyer that basically it's like a stacks card a little bit. Totem Shredder's not really what we're looking for. It does go good with the new Lorehold mechanics of things being taken out of the graveyard. Snakeskin Veil, I did not want to pass to him, but luckily it never came up of that biting me in the tail. And then we get some just quality removal. So I'm like, okay, so this isn't nothing. I ended up passing on it with hopes, the 1 mana 1/1 Death Touch. I was like, well, there's a strong, having a couple of removal spells. If I can get that last stack again, I can take that removal spell and then have a nice little package for black. And he didn't get there. He got to the second pack. So feeling good there. This pack was a little unexciting for us. So this was an easy, just let's try it again later type thing. This Outland Historian's not terrible neither, but I really kind of want that removal spell because I'm speccing black really hard. So we take that and the Graduation Day, which was in my final build, but it ended up being my last cut. I did have a lot of repartee bonused things, but it just ended up, it's just too narrow and it's just incremental addition to what I was trying to do. I feel like it was diluted with mixing both of the Magecraft stuff for Silver Quill for both sets. Environmental Science, yes, this is a lesson. I'm actively looking for learn cards. Learn. It's just the best thing I could be doing. That Environmental Science is so good too. It's probably the best lesson that I can probably hope for outside the new mythic ones that are in the new set, but I will not plan on be getting those. But yeah, environmental science. I mean, depending, like I may just put it in my main deck if I don't have it, like or any of the learn cards. So red got real stale, I will say. I'm also in the world where like, well, is blue good enough? But I'm just kind of really starting to focus like on what does silver quill really look like? Like at least I have the bones of something nice. So we're kind of just sticking in that lane and see what comes. This was a interesting pack. Like, I mean, I could have taken this if I wanted to go deep off rails, but I don't think that this adds anything to my deck. Zabone is a nice card though if I'm in that space, but not trying to be doing that right now. It was just it's good to like work through those and seeing how well it'll play. Star Pupil, fantastic in our deck. And Alan Historian's not even terrible neither. I don't have a lot of things exiling from Graveyard, but like a 2/3 flyer, ETB Surveil 1, especially in a deck that I don't have much of card advantage so far. I think Star Pupil is just enough to keep this though. Especially if I'm like thinking rep RT kind of stuff. I'm looking for a Killian. Killian from the old Strixhaven. Killian would be, oof, that would have made this deck like nutty. Killian is probably my favorite card from the original Strixhaven. And that's before I really realized how much I loved like Izzet and Prismari. But like I love doing the Killian thing back then. I was like, well, Magecraft really just needs to be in Prismari. Like, let's be real. So nice pickups there. Good black removal and like a little 1/1 Death Touch kind of keeps, and the Silver Quill Apprentice all keeps me kind of in black. Stargaze, pretty good. I mean, we need card advantage pretty bad. So like we don't have really anything that boosts that for us. I mean, unfortunately, this just drains our life for how deep we end up going. Look at twice X from the top of your library, put X card from among them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard, you lose X life. So I mean, yeah, there is a kind of like a thought about decking and a thought about life loss. So, but I think any card advantage is pretty nice because a deck like this loses traction pretty easily. Cultivate, pretty nice if you're in like this kind of space, if you're like multiple colors and stuff like that. It was a consideration. I feel like it's better, a card like this better in sealed than it is in like normal draft. But I choose to not go that direction. Quintorius. So like understanding that like I have some red cards that I may like to play too, like it's not the worst thing in the world, like giving spirits some boosts, and my little 3-mana guy makes some spirits, that guy does. And I think and then the Strict Proctor is also a spirit. So that's nice. So like it's torn because I feel like Quintorius is pretty strong card if you can kind of manage to do anything from the graveyard, but I don't have a lot at all. So, but that's okay. I think it's okay. There's still plenty of draft left to try to get something in the graveyard for myself. or out of the graveyard, so to speak. We were talking a lot about getting Quintorius, like, and the Planeswalkers also in the Commander set, and like there's it's kind of some cool outs for that. Wall, mill a card. So this is one of the things, like double face cards, you gotta have to play as it is, and like that's a board wipe on one side. On the other side, it's like a 2/3 for 3 that you can sack it, and all creatures you control get indestructible until end of turn. And I choose to just rip off the top here. Don't get anything off it, so we'll see if he picks this up. I think I ended up with like 12 creatures in this deck, but it was actually quite assertive. And it's funny because I played like combat tricks and things like that, things that are good to trigger rep RT, and things like that. And that's usually not how I like to play the game, but it was so smooth how it all played out for sure. Like, yeah, it was cool. There are some cards, so like I know I'm black-white, and I'm just trying to make sure I get enough playables to at least support that, with the small chance of needing to splash a third color. Because I got some red cards I could play, end up with some green cards that I can kind of look towards that direction as well. Wall, rare. And yeah, Requisition Raid. It's just a flexible card, and sometimes it'll be a 2-for-1. Put counters on all my creatures and or destroy an artifact or enchantment. Seems pretty nice. Pretty good pack for us though. It's kind of in the realm of what we're doing anyways. Just kind of continues to support. Yeah, and the double face card on the other side, it's 5 and 3 black for just, I think it destroys everything. Like some sort of board wipe. This is a card that I really didn't want to give back to him because I thought he was green. It just seemed really bad for me if I wanted to do that. So I took it out of his way, and then like come to find out, I was considering playing it. Because there was a couple green cards that I was like, well, these are kind of worth splashing. So there's possibilities there. Commander cards. I don't want to sack all my creatures. That sounds terrible. It seems really bad when I'm behind. Granted, I could leave them. I get to choose what I destroy from there, but if I'm behind at all on the board, like that feels real bad. This was just a sound deck. It really was. It had good removal. Fixing could have been better, but there was cards that kind of helped. Like any of my learn cards gets environmental science, things like that. But yeah, not the worst things in the world. Dragon's Approach. No, I think that card's a few bucks. I think we were talking about price on that. Sonar. I was kind of considering Sonar. Like I know I'm not even close to blue, but like I'm trying to like work through how that could be good. It just doesn't seem good in this deck. I like the thought about another Cultivate. I ended up taking this just to not give him 2 Cultivates. That is a kind of a thing, especially 1v1. Like you just can't let him have certain things. Like 2 Cultivates is very powerful, especially if you're like turbo ramping or anything, and you're just in that kind of area. And I did feel like he was in green, so I thought like that would be bad for me. So I burned a random card off the top to cut him off 2 different cards. So this is another example. That's just tap target creature. If it's your turn, like put a stun counter on it and then draw a card. It's really not what I'm looking for by itself. I would like that with a group of cards. That's how I will evaluate like a lot of combat tricks, and especially in a deck that I kind of want combat tricks like the one I'm in. Don't quote me on that. I'll never admit it. I hate combat tricks so much. But so like that's the case where I'm just like, well, I'll try to float this. He may not even want this kind of effect, even if I do kind of want it, push it down the line. Join researchers from the new Strixhaven. Seems pretty good. 2/2 first strike at the beginning of your end step. If it becomes prepared, and then you can, whatever rendezvous, where each player draws 3 cards for 3 mana sorcery, which isn't great. But like I like a 2 mana 2/2, especially when I'm putting a bunch of counters on things and pumping and making things bigger and better. So it's not the worst thing. So like at this point, I have some pretty okay cards. I have some good interaction, but my deck doesn't get like really, really good until like here in a little bit. Like I just have like standard, just random cards that kind of have some synergy. But there's as we get into these last bits of cards, things kind of take a nice turn. So this is one of them, Professor Onyx. And I said, snap keep. Best text on Professor Onyx is Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, you basically drain them for 2, which is really good when you're just playing like a lot of cheap combat tricks and having things on the board. Like that's why one of the big reasons why I was on 12 creatures, just because I wanted to make sure I can trigger Magecraft and just drain them out. And I even told him like, oh man, that was not a card to let me have, even though he had no choice. It was the only card in the first stack. So I lucked out 100% on that. But here we get a little combat trick. It's actually a fine one. 2 1/1 counters and gains lifelink. Like that's quite significant for 2 mana. So I think that's a little bit better than like just a 1 mana +2/+2 whatever. I think that especially on some of the creatures I have, it could be really, really nice. Star Pupil's one of those that like I love putting counters on, so because it transfers all of its counters to elsewhere. We have some good synergy there so far, so it's not crazy to pick up just a combat this pick just for a combat trick, but we'll see what I do here. We will see, we will see. Lawson was trying to do like bigger things. Like I said, he ended up getting a bookworm, and like that's kind of like where he got it early too. So he kind of built what he was doing around that a little bit. Looks like I passed on that combat trick, but I'll be happy to take that. It's a weak enough pack that I can probably fade it for one more pick and maybe add a little gas to it. And then 1 mana wall, is that better than a random card? You'll hear me say a lot in Winston. Like, is it better than a 1 mana card? So in this case, or like a random card. This case, yeah. I think a 4 mana 2/2 that puts a 1/1 counter on something, and then also puts counters on every creature with counters can be a strong effect with when I'm already kind of doing that as well. Yeah. That 4 mana card is one of my most expensive cards in this deck, being at 4 mana. That and then the Professor Onyx were my 2 top end. No, I think I played Quintorius too, so top 3. But I did not. It was a very well curved deck. And then having this, I guess I lied again, because we also have the exhilarating elocution. But basically puts counters on things and pumps everything else up +1/+1 until end of turn. It's kind of what this deck's doing, so feel pretty good about that. I ended up with quite a bit of creatures that like carry counters well too, like the Strict Proctor, like a 1/3 flyer. Like, oh yeah, I'll just put all the counters on this. Like that seems like a strong effect in this kind of space where like removal isn't so everywhere, like maybe like a normal draft would be. So it's not the worst thing in the world, you know. Like I'm looking for some other creatures that kind of go with our theme that could be cheap enough that we can just flood the board. Not really into that combat trick in that spot. Overgrown Arc, it's not bad. Like it learns. Tap 2, sacrifice it, learn. I mean, the learning mechanic's good, and I know that I have environmental science, so like that's pretty good. And on top of that, just gaining a life every turn. It's just an efficient card. Like it does its job. Like weaker effects like life gain and, you know, like ramp, I can't call them necessarily weak, but weaker in like the sense of doing big things on a more intense play or format environment. Like they become really good in a space like this where it's like a lot of it's kind of chaos. We take this pack, I think, or do I? I don't. Oh, I think I give it back to him. But like 2 green cards, it's making me think about the Overgrown Arc, but looks like I skipped out on it. But I'm glad I did because A, we get a lesson here, and B, we get a Guiding Voice, which is a learn card. Having a learn card is like super important. That learn card goes right in my synergies with the counters and all that stuff. Like +1/+1 counters and combat tricks, it's really not things that I like to do. It's not like as far as the enjoyment of the game and all that stuff, it's not necessarily like my jam. But like when it comes together, it comes together, and when it's good, it's good. And I'm not trying to give Lawson any free wins. That is 100% fact. So yeah, things are looking pretty okay. He does pick a card here towards the end that he doesn't want to give me, but he ended up giving me anyways and like letting me go for it. But I feel like he was just going for something else, and that's just how it went. It may have been in there, so we'll see. And all right, in this pick, so this does get better. No, I end up taking this 100%. So, Show of Confidence, like it copies itself whenever, for each instant sorcery spell you cast, like that card actually pops all the way off. And the Silver Quill Mage, like, it's pretty good. 3/1, it either gets flying or lifelink until end of turn for its Magecraft. Like, yeah, that seems like pretty nice in this deck. So yeah, even for like 12 creatures, so super assertive and quite explosive on a lot of turns. So then on top of that, we just have Professor Onyx that just it's in the second piles where he's saying like he doesn't want to give me that. I'm not taking a Sonar. So yeah, here's a rare here. So yeah, and boom. All right, let's get into the fun stuff. Here is the deck itself. We have Professor Onyx. We did splash red for Quintorius, the removal spell, then the 3/2 that makes 2 spirits. On top of that, we just have your good removal and your standard Silver Quill stuff, repartee, like combat tricks and things like that. But let's get in some gameplay. So, it wasn't this game. We both kept on 7 for here for sure. But turn 1, Star Pupil. It's living up to its name, I will say. So I'm like, yeah, he has a window to remove it. And like, that doesn't feel great, but I think it's not the worst thing in the world. All right, we get the Silver Quill Guild Mage out. So at the very least, if he has a flash threat, blocks it, I'll be able to put that counter on something else. So his deck was very more like Teamer slash Prismari stuff. He had a lot of interaction in his deck, but deck wasn't bad by any means. I had very explosive like starts and things like that. I'm just like, oh man, just let me get to Professor Onyx. That's all I want to do with this deck and just kind of go nuts in here. But like some of the things that I'm able to do like was super explosive. So he's going to bounce my thing back to my hand. Surveil. That's one of the new cards from Secrets of Strixhaven. And he has 3 of them too, which is kind of annoying, especially with combat tricks and stuff like that. Just being able to bounce things back to my hand it's not the coolest thing in the world that my deck wants to see. He surveils an island away. All right, natural Tron for young Lawson. And he passes the turn. I'm like, oh, well, it's not going to stop me from doing what I want to do here. Get the Guild Mage out, get my attack just in case of the same reason, just have any flying threat or flashing threats, and a 1/1 Death Toucher. Curving out, feeling good. Life is good. Pretty sure I had a 3-drop too, so 1, 2, 3-drop is just a lot that he has to kind of manage his way through. Granted, sometimes like just one creature will do it. Like I remember he played this. I'm like, all right, he has mana for the 4/4 loot guy from the new Secrets of Strixhaven. I called it. I was like, ah, dang it. I think I do have answers here for it though, so I'm not like, it's not the worst thing in the world for me, but just trying to stay ahead on board and keep applying the pressure. So here, so he puts away a forest, and I think I had guiding voice, or I think it's what I get here. I think I drew it as well. But I played my land off the rip, so I don't actually think that that's the case. So I think we play we play 4 mana, 2/2, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. And then I decide to offer a trade. Gladly take that. The higher powered things are just going to kind of put a stop to me here. And I think that he had a decision to make, and it kind of was telling. It's like, all right, he has more things he can do, but he's not willing to just take 2 damage every turn. So it could have been a couple different things, but for the sake of that, he plays a 4/3 trample with Opus, and he gets counters on it for each spell he casts. So we are going to Guided Voice, we're going to learn, and we're going to put that on the Guild Mage, the Silver Quill Guild Mage. This turn is disgusting, by the way. Like, it is actually nutty. So Environmental Science. We cast Environmental Science, making the Magecraft count 2. Well, at first, I don't see the line completely at the beginning. But I'm like, oh, because the card that I have in my hand incentivizes me to actually get planes. So I draw my Jim Davis Mountain. But then I'm like, no, we're getting planes. Because this is a nasty turn. And like, there's nothing like that he could have really done about it, but it all just becomes pretty good. So, yep, we get our planes, play it for turn. Sorry, Jim Davis Mountain. As much as I fetch you first for all things mountain. And, yep, I have 2 Magecraft, basically prowess triggers. And I decided to split them off. Lawson was kind enough to remind me about, like, it can target any creature, which is pretty good. So he's not just going to take it, because this could be really explosive for sure. So he's going to block the pupil. Then I'm going to play this where it copies itself for each other spell that I cast or copied. And basically it's a storm card, basically, where it gets +1/+1 in vigilance to target creature. Or it gives a +1/+1 counter and vigilance to target creature. So basically, my Magecraft goes off. I make my star pupil take 2 the token, so it can at least trade with their 4/3 trampler. And because when the pupil dies, those counters will go on another creature. So I think I have like 11 damage coming through. So yeah, you have 4, 5, 6, 6 plus 5. Or something like that. Yeah. 3. Yeah, because I get, and how that card's read is like for every spell, or how the Magecraft or the Silver Quill Magecraft does, like I get to do +1/+0 for those two. So yeah, it ended up being 11 damage. But then the pupil dies, and then put all those counters on the 4-mana 2/2 that I have, and that feels good. So he has some work to do, but Lawson's known for squirming out. And then he no land pass really makes me feel like I'm in a winning position. So we're going to cast this and put 2 1/1 counters on target creature, and then all other creatures get +1/+0. I can get everything to 6 power here. So we're going to give the Magecraft +1/+0 off the Silver Quill Guild Mage, and give it to the 2/2 with 3 counters on it. So I'm going to have 6 damage on each creature coming through. So at the very least, we can put him down to 1 if he has an answer to one of these, which I can only assume that he has, or else he probably would have scooped. And he's going to bounce that back to my hand, which I say okay. And then he surveils another land away. Notable that he missed his land drop last turn. I think 2 turns, actually. His land situation was not great, that is for sure. So he passes the turn with 4 mana up. And we go ahead and play the 2/3 the flip card that he can sack himself to give creatures indestructible. And then we're going to put a counter. We're going to play the 4 mana 2/2, put a counter on itself. Yeah, I end up moving into that guy because if I want to sack that to make something indestructible, that'll be what we do there. And then he has the 3rd copy of that bounce spell, and brutal. But that is all right. I have lethal in a few different ways, or a couple at the very least. Sonar, and then I don't necessarily know what that is. I just think it's maybe it's a 1/4, maybe it's the Sky Whale or something like that, or maybe it's the mascot. Yeah, it's the Prismari mascot, and we're just sitting on removal and just got it all, really. No, I actually don't think I have removal. I would have fired it off 100%. But this was a easy like trade here because it was a 2/2. I think what that does, it floats an Is It at the beginning of every turn, at the beginning of your upkeep every turn. And I'm able to get Quintorius and the Guild Mage down and, yep, wrap it up, Chuck. Just the explosive turn that we had, like, oh my gosh. Dealing 11 damage, pumping through, and like unfavorable trades for him. Yeah, that was it. That was it. All right, getting into game 2. That was a pretty quick game 1, though. I mean, we kind of just cruised in. He's showing like a card that was stuck in his hand. It's 3 blue and 4 colorless for put all instances of sorceries in your graveyard back into your hand, and you have no maximum hand size, which is pretty strong in like a spell-based deck. But he's kind of like both, so I don't know how good that card is in his deck. Because it's a 7 mana spell, first of all, so he's considering taking it out. It looks like he's doing so. Oh, this game is actually kind of funny. How we mulligan. Trying to get a sideboard tech going. Had a couple of the guild mages, Prismari guild mages. I was like, well, it would be pretty good in his deck. Especially with those like bounce spells, Surveil 1 seems pretty strong enough, I should say. Because they're 2 mana 3/3s. I remember when that set came out, they were just not good cards though. But they served a purpose for sure. There's a reason why Bookworm was so good, just because A, it's hard to kill, because every time you could just pay 3 mana and put in the 3rd from the top of your deck, so it's just an inevitability card. I don't think you can get milled out, I'm pretty sure. I don't think that works like that, but actually it may, so who knows. If like you can keep killing it and keep putting it on top of your library, so that's not nothing. We are both on a mulligan. Both trying to go to 6. Winston's so much fun. And I think, and it does matter like who you play in it too. Me and Lawson play this so much that like it's a good time every time. And we always try to do like kind of big crazy things, but we're also very much so trying to beat each other because our record does matter to us. But yeah, it's a good time. Look at this hand of his. This is hilarious. Watch this. Island, 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 forest. I need to know a percentage probability for that hand. That's so funny. So funny. 7. Oh man, that's just brutal. But I'm mulliganing too. We're both going to 5. And he even said this. He was like, I think my deck mulls to 5 better than yours does. And I was like, you're right. I don't have all the card advantage and things like that to keep going. But, you know, there are a lot of strong cards in my deck that can be impactful. Less of, like, card advantage, but more card quality. So I shouldn't say more card quality. But just some powerful things going on. And explosive too. There's a series of 1, 2, 3 drops that just like is really, really good. Me pretending I'm doing math. All right, he goes first, and he has a 0-4 wall. I'm like, it's going to be a long game. Pretty sure my hand is a slow start as it is, and he has 2 drop too, a 1-3 that loots. Pretty good. Pretty good. Talk about curving out, though. So he basically plays a mana rock. And, yeah, it's pretty good for him. I'm like, ugh. I miss a land drop. So he's on Tron, and I'm terrified. But he has such a good start, but, like, mulling to 5 is a lot of bit of he found himself in some flood here, so his card selection with the 1-3 looter is really good. He's gonna put Bookworm away, and I'm like, oh, here we go. He's just gonna go ahead and pay the 3 to put it third from the top, and I draw a go. I don't know how I managed to win this game. I mean, he's more or less spinning his wheels and not getting any impactful things going on, and I'm just at a healthy, I could be taking 1 damage a turn if that's what he wants to be doing, but it's not really a winning move. I do have a guided voice in my hand, but I really don't want to put a 1/1 counter on one of his creatures. I really don't. And put a 1/1 counter on his creatures, learn, get environmental science. It's just like, it's just so bad. I'll just miss my land drops, keep drawing. See what happens here. Land, boom. Got in there. Missed 2 land drops. And I'm not dead. But you get access to a lot of lands, like Bookworm is not far away. So we play the 2/1 flyer that makes a pest. And then it basically it has a raised dead of creatures whenever it attacks based off of how much life you gain that turn. So feels good on this board. I'm like, well, if you can't deal with it, I'm just going to keep poking for 2. And I have a lot of combat tricks, so that doesn't feel bad neither. He sacks that artifact and draws a card, which I find that is strange. Like, you want a bookworm anyways, and maybe he felt like his clock just kind of like diminished there. It's just pretty, I don't think I'd do that there just because I want to get a bookworm as quick as possible. Honestly, there was an argument for tapping the wall to mill a card to put it back in the yard and just keeping it in like a safe place, and you can always just put it back in the hand later to better use mana. Guided voice, put a counter on my guy, get environmental science, cast environmental science. I think I go for my Jim Davis Mountain. Always go for the Jim Davis Mountain. That's just the rules. Yeah, I only have 2. Like, I like the idea to get my my draft lands signed by people I admire and things like that. Like, I want to get Ben Bateman to sign one of my islands, and Krim to sign one of my swamps or even islands, but I think swamps would be better. And just trying to get all the influencers that influence me in the Magic community to sign those, and I like my draft lands to kind of reflect that. So I'm going to search for my Jim Davis Mountain or my Power Dragon Forest, and so on and so forth. Those are the only 2 that I currently have. See, like, we put the bookworm back anyway, so I think we should have just milled it. And then he wouldn't have had to sack his mana dork or his mana rock. So, at this point, I'm feeling in a safe place. He's missed land drops in the midst of his basically turbo land drops. All right, he plays the Maestro, which is a 2/2 menace that has Opal or Opus. That whenever you cast an insert sorcery spell, you get a 1/1 counter on it, and if it's a mana if the spell is a mana value of 5 or more, you get to float that much red. So that card is quite actually a storm card. Like, it's just really, really good. And yeah, it's awesome. Like, I had 2 of them in my pre-release deck, and it was like disgusting. It was just very, very good. That's why I love Prismari the new Prismari right now. It's just because it feels like Storm. I drafted a deck on Arena where, like, I was just Jeskai, like, full control and just with a brain freeze. And I'm like, yes, actual Storm feels great. And we were able to brain freeze some people out. That is my on my bingo card for this set, is to, in paper, brain freeze someone out, which makes me just want to straight up force Prismari every single time so I don't miss an opportunity. So we're gonna gives 2 +1/+1 counters and lifelink until end of turn. Just whack him for 5 and gain 5. Seems like a nice thing to do at this point of the game. We also got a Strict Proctor out, 1/3, and so it's better against his Bookworm, since his Bookworm ETBs gains 3 life, and I would like for that to not be the case. There is some fear to his Maestro, I will say, because that can get out of control quickly. Get out of control quickly. Alright, so he does the 5 mana draw 2 on his little prepared 2-drop. So he gets to float 4 mana, 3 or 4 mana. And he uses it to filter or to loot with his 1/3 looter guy. Honestly, he just needs to figure out how to kill my 5/4 flyer at this point. I do have Professor Onyx in my hand, but we're not even quite close enough for that at this point because we're just missed so many land drops. But we're going to do this, put 2 1/1 counters on target creature, and then all of the creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn. So we're going to go all in. I gain my life on my pest trigger. He trades with his 2/1. He already got his value off it, which is fine. I just feel like it's appropriate to leave a body in play here. Or trade up. Or, yep, basically trade up. It was free on my end, really. Then we pass the turn. Notably, he has a bookworm in his hand, so he's at 7 mana. 8 mana now. So he has a choice to make here because I have 8 power worth of damage in the air. So he basically tanks this one and thinks his way through, but I have quite close to lethal in a couple different ways. I think he does do the right play though, because he can't pay for the 3 life off the bookworm because the strict proctor says creatures entering doesn't cause triggered abilities, basically shutting down ETBs unless they pay 2. So that makes bookworm's life gain a 10 mana play if he chooses to do that, or he could just play it as a body, which I don't think does quite enough. Either way, I'm sitting on a removal spell in hand. I think it's the 4 mana removal. No, it's the 3 mana instant that I haven't had a real spot to really cast, as I just am able to continue to get attacks in. And yeah, just explosive counters on things, and he's not able to, like, if I were him, I would be trying to spin wheels. Like, he has this, I forget what this card is, this Simic X spell that basically draws cards, and he needs to try to find bounce spells to basically stay alive. So there is some relief that he's not trying to play the bookworm, but I guess it's put a permanent in play equal to the amount of mana spent to cast a spell, and he plays a tapped 4-drop off of that X spell. It is a rare, but I forget what it's called. Spin the wheels, Lawson. Spin the wheels to your demise. So, in doing that, he was able to float 4 red mana off of the Maestro. And he's going to choose to loot, which I do think is the right play here, because he needs to find his... he's already cast one of his bounce spells, but he needs to find one of the other 2 that's floating around in his deck. And he's going to cast a Sonar. And I'm like, okay. So, lethal on board. He has no reach creatures, no flyers. And that's what kind of we're concluding to. So, that is that. I will say, thank you guys so much for watching. And I appreciate you guys tuning in. And what helps us the most is, if you made it this far, you help the most by giving us enough watch time to support what we're trying to do here. And once again, if you guys like these kinds of videos, please like, comment, subscribe. It goes a long way, and I'm truly grateful to make content for everyone and express like what I like to do in Magic, and urge other people to play in the sense of like that is challenging and is fun to do. So Winston is one of those limited formatted ways. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate you all so much, and we'll continue to do Winstons whenever we can sprinkle them in. We got another one teed up that will get filmed up for everyone, and yeah, it's like an artifact theme, and it's fun and all the things. So thank you so much for watching. We'll definitely catch you all in the next video. Peace.